getting ready, to go. But I feel like Sister Susan Lewis, Dr. Richards, I think she's already on the airport, waiting for that flight to heaven
Hmm.
because to be with the King. She is so excited about this fast and so many others of you as well. But I had to make mention of Susan. Susan is super excited for the fast as much as we all are. It is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight the man of God in charge of this ministry. And don't get frightened. He told me that I can take the hour. So I know some of you must say, kind of, this lady, So I'll get a little permission and take now. I like to introduce you to the man of God, and we call him Dr. Richards. We call him Professor. We call him Pastor Richards. We just want you to know that this man is loved by this entire family, and we appreciate him. And for those of you who are new with us tonight, here he is himself, Noel, Dr. Noel, Professor Richards. And if you look in the chat, we should have scripture verses. And no scripture verses tonight. All right, Doc. Well, no scripture verses. So I hand over to Dr. Richards. Please feel comfortable. If there's anything you want to ask the man of God, if there's anything that you don't understand, put your hands up, message it in the chat, and we'll respond to you tonight. God bless you. I love you. And thank you to those of you. Oh my goodness. Thank you to those of you who came on with us for the first time. And we want you to feel at home. Dr. Richards.
Thank you, Pastor Nicole. Good evening to you and good evening to everyone, especially the new ones. If you're new with us, we thank you for being on with us this evening. And this is how we do it. We have a two-part session every evening. Pastor Nicole comes on first. He shares with you, and then I will share. I have to take my time to talk to you tonight because over the last day or so, it has been really challenging. I've had some dental situation to deal with, a lot of pain. My gums were sore and swollen, sore, and they're sore. They're inflamed, according to the dentist. I got a lot of advice today from many people, and I did go to my dentist, and he prescribed something to me. So for now, I guess I can say I can speak clearly now. The pain is gone. But I have to be on some medication over the next few days. So I have to take my time to speak to you because it's still there, still a little bit challenging. But I thank God. I thank God, that I'm still able to be on tonight. So we have been looking at the topic, how are you? And under that topic, we looked at the R's, which is regret, the first one, and then we looked at righteousness. And we want to talk about the righteousness, what it is about. And we looked at a few things. And the last thing we talked about was in Ephesians chapter 6, where we are looking at, I think, is 5 groups of people that portray righteousness. If we look at these groups of people and how they're supposed to be, then we will get an idea of what is righteous living. And so we looked at children, and that was the first group. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 to 3 says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. So we looked at what honoring is, and we looked at how you could honor your parents. The second group of people is found in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4, and I'll read it. It says, and you fathers, do not provoke or exasperate your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. Children like this verse. My children, my sons like this verse. And you fathers, do not provoke or exasperate your children to wrath by bringing them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. This really goes to both parents, not just the fathers. Because at that time, it was a father's responsibility, really, to teach the children, in the ways of the Lord. But in our culture and in our time, that responsibility falls on both parents. So the first question is, and I'm not sure if we did this the last time or not, but we're going to do it. How can a father or a mother provoke or exasperate their child or children? What do parents do that children can say, you are provoking me, you are exasperating me? I'm sure we have many children in this, sorry, many parents in this family. Have your children ever said that to you? Or have they suggested to you because they might tell you and they might lose a few teeth from some of you? But have you ever felt that your children were saying, you're exasperating me, I'm fed up, I can't take it anymore? Has that been your experience, any one of you? Or as a child, have you ever felt your parents provoking you or exasperating you, which is basically the same thing? You're stressed out, you're fed up because of the way your parents are treating you. Have you ever felt that? Anybody? Talk to me, and First Lady will tell me if anybody says so in the chat. But I want to find out from you, have you ever felt that way as a parent, as a child? That sense of exasperation or provocation from your parents or from your children? Talk to me, somebody. Let's get interactive now.
All right, Dr. Richards, we have a comment in the chat. And it says, nitpick on how they complete a chore. For example, if they wash the dishes and their parent complains about how you went about washing the dishes and stating how they could do it better.
All right, so nitpicking and telling you that they could do it better. All right, anybody else? All right, well, if we don't have...
All right, Dr. Richards, we have a hand up. So we have Elder Sherry.
Go ahead.
Yes, I was having challenges on meeting. Good evening, everyone. So my son says that take it easy now, mommy. Gosh, because he's lazy and he's lazy. So if you have to tell him this one thing more than once, he thinks that, well, I probably do. I'm sure I do exasperate them, But it's usually because of laziness.
So you think he is lazy?
Yes, and I think I would probably be on him a lot, yes. Especially when you know what you're putting in them and you're not seeing it. So you might always try to reinforce, and sometimes you could go off the handle with doing so. So yeah, I would say I am guilty of it.
Are you saying you're guilty of exasperating your child?
I concur, yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else?
All right, Dr. Richards, you have a few comments in the chat. All right, and it says, the phone, when you tell them it's time to rest your eyes and take a book. We have waking a child while sleeping to do a task that you can do. Example, carrying something in the kitchen that you could do for yourself. Always comparing your child with another, having them feeling unworthy. Dr. Richard, personally, I think there's a lot of things I could list up, but personally, I just think it's just like, for example, if I if I have a chore to do, let's say first lady comes and tells me to do something. In my opinion, if I say that I will do something, then I'm going to do it. But sometimes they want it done immediately as they say to do it. I personally think that 5 minutes is not really going to make a difference, but making an issue about the timing in which you do it. Because if I understand if it's something that is important or urgent that needs to be done, but sometimes it's something as simple as sweeping or washing the dishes, and you want it done right this moment. But sometimes I'm in the middle of something, or maybe I just want to rest myself a little bit. Maybe I was doing something just now and I want to have a seat, but they want me to do it right now. And sometimes that's irritating because I'm just saying 5 minutes is not really going to make a difference and I'm still going to do it. But you want it done now.
Interesting. Very interesting. I would have liked to hear a person respond, but let's not start an argument. But that's typical of male and female, eh? And a lot of women complain that men are too laid back. They want something done now, and the man will say, "I'll do it, I'll get it done." And it drags on and on and on until sometimes they decide to do it themselves. That is something we could discuss at another time. But yeah, I understand that. Anybody else quickly?
We have another comment that says clean the entire kitchen and mom would find fault because one thing was missed.
Mm. Wow. That's a very, very interesting. Okay. I'm pausing for anyone else who wants to share.
We have another comment that I disagree with, but it says delayed obedience is disobedience. And I personally don't agree with it because I say 5 minutes is 5 minutes, but all right. We're not gonna start anything now.
Delayed obedience is disobedience. Interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. So here are some of the things that I have come up with in terms of how a parents can exasperate or provoke their children. And you will tell me if you agree on that. Some of you have mentioned some of them already. One is by bullying. Yes, parents bully their children sometimes. And because they have the authority, they wield that authority in such a way that it becomes bullying. And it's like, whatever I say, you do. What I say goes. And the children don't have a choice. They have to do what they're told to do. Or sometimes they do it psychologically. And what do I mean by that? There are times when we know children, sometimes children go to both parents. You go to one parent and if that parent says no, and you feel but the other parent will say yes. So you go to the parent that you think would say yes, and you go and ask for something, and the other parent would say, "Oh, so you ask you, let's say you went to your mother and she said no, and then you go to your father, and the father says, okay, yes, go ahead, you have the permission, whatever it is. So you went to your father, all right, no problem, I see. And that is putting a that is threatening psychologically. When we do our children that, when we tell them, okay, we will see. Or, yeah, you'll come to me for something. And that kind of thing that we do our children, we exasperate our children, we provoke them. It's bullying. And we ought not to bully our children because we don't want to be bullied. So we have to be careful of how we treat our children or how we use the authority that we have over our children. All right. So has anybody ever done that? I don't want to, unless you want to, but I want. I'm hearing a voice. Is somebody saying something? Or is that somebody's mic is open?
All right, Dr. Richards, well, we have some comments in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
We have one comment saying children are often bullied due to separation or divorce or to spite the other person.
Right. That's right. And so we will get to, that's one of the things that I have, and we will get to it. Okay. So Let's move to the second one that I have, and we'll talk about it. Showing favoritism. You have 2 children, or 3 children, or 4 children, and you favor one child over the other or the others. And that's where you discourage those that are not your favorite. You treat one differently, you give them the best, you treat them the best. You're buying things for them, or you give them the better thing. And they might be the younger child or the youngest child, but you show favoritism. You will exasperate your children, the others. We ought not to favor one child over the other. Now, yes, you treat children differently according to who they are, but you also have to understand that your children are different. And maybe what you expect from one, you don't get from the other one, but it doesn't mean to say that you have to favor that one. One of your children might be a loving and always coming and saying, Mommy, I love you, or Daddy, I love you. And because of that, you favor that child over the one who doesn't say it or who doesn't come to you. You show favoritism because that child is acting in a way that you find, well, look, this is the way a child is supposed to act. But when you favor one child, when you treat them better, when you shower them with gifts and with love, and you don't do it to the others or the other one, you can frustrate your child. You can make them feel unloved. You can make your child feel, look, I'm nobody. Have you ever done that? I want you to think about it. Those of us who are parents, I want us to think about it. Is that something that we have practiced? If we are doing that, or if we have done that, then we are provoking or exasperating our children.
All right, Dr. Richards, we have a few comments.
Mm-hmm.
You said, one says, why can't you be like your sister? Another says, that's so true. Another one says, that's true, and growing up to hate. And we have a hand ups, Sister Bernadette.
Mm-hmm. Sister Burn.
Hi, good night. Just a flip side on that. Some parents, I have noticed in my line of work that some parents does it unintentional, and it's for children who suffer from an illness. So the children, their siblings they don't understand that, is more fear than losing the child, that they shower the sick child, and the siblings, take it as favoritism.
And yeah, thank you so much, Bernie. And that is so true. And that is why, we have to learn parenting. We have to understand parenting. You have to treat your children equally, even though you treat them differently. So even if you shower one child with a lot of love, you have to make up that with the others in some other way. You have to let them know that they are loved too. And you have to let them know why you might be showing this child, giving this child more attention. Let them know, let them understand. You can't just do it and expect your children to understand as as adults would understand. And even some adults don't understand. You're showing your child favoritism because they're sick or they have some illness, some sickness, some disease, and you're spending all your time with them. But remember, you also have other children who need you. And they must not feel that they are neglected, or they should not be neglected because of the other child. So I had to go to, some years ago, the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. I think they changed it up now, but I had to do a course. I think it's either 6 weeks or 7 weeks or maybe longer, on how to deal with children with learning disabilities and who might have things like ADHD. When I had to do that, I went and I did, and my wife couldn't do it because she was working. I got time off to do it, and I learned so much. And it helped me to understand that children are different. And when you treat you treat a child a particular way because of their condition, but you also have to teach your other children that this is what is happening. All right? So let's move on.
Dr. Richards, before you move on, we have a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And it says one house has four children, four children, all has different personalities. You have to learn, or you have to know how to separate in upbringing.
As a parent, yes. That's why there should be a school of parenting. That's why you should not be a parent before you are ready. Because listen, Joshua, Jonathan, and Judah have three distinctly different personalities. Distinctly different. And we have to learn, First Lady and I have to treat them differently because of their different personalities. So, next one, number 3. Question their intelligence every time they mess up. When you question their intelligence, when they do something, well, you're stupid. Your daughter thought you could do something like that. But I don't understand you. And that's what we do to some children. That's what we do to them. Every time they make a mistake, you're down on them. You make them feel less than. That is exasperating the children. That is provoking the children to anger. Calling them names. Dumb. You idiot. Next one.
Doctor, just before you move on,
mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make a comment. Sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes they see it differently. Like, you need to use your head sometimes, or you need to think sometimes.
Yes. Thank you, Joshua. You need to use your head sometimes. All right. And I'm sure there are other things to think. I mean, as a parent, think of what you say to your children and understand how it comes across to them. It comes across as you are stupid, not even foolish. Foolish is a kind word. You are dotish. You are stupid. That's how it comes across to them when we say things like those things, when we use those expressions. Children will make mistakes, just as you as an adult make mistakes. Children will make mistakes, and they need to know that this life, that a mistake doesn't end your life. A mistake doesn't mean you're stupid. A mistake doesn't mean something is wrong with you. We all make mistakes. And the thing is, children should be allowed to make mistakes. That's how they learn. So let's move on. 4, comparing them to their estranged parent, meaning you and your spouse, your child's father, your child's mother are separate. Or maybe you're not even separated, you're in the house, but all don't get along. And they do something. Look at you, you're just like your father. You're just like your father, you're stupid like your father, or you look at you. And you compare them to their parent in a negative way. That is provoking the children. That's exasperating. That will exasperate anybody. I'll pause after each one for any comment that you might want to make. So we move on.
We have a hand up, Dr. Richards.
Go ahead.
Sister Susan.
Hi, good night.
Hi.
Good night. I just want to stay here listening, and sometimes not only parents messed up the children, teachers do, because I had a grandson going to school and the teacher used to tell him, you can't read, you're stupid, this, and when he come home and we trying to think, he used to say, miss say this and miss say that. So she will mess him up.
Yeah. And that's why I say sometimes you have to understand the village has to raise the child. The village is not just the parents in the home, it's in the school, it's the people in the community, it's in the church. Everybody's responsible for raising children. And you can't treat children like that. And you confuse them. And children hear the negative voice is stronger in their head. So somebody tell your child is stupid and you trying to tell them, no, baby, you know, you're good. But they will remember what is said about them.
Remember what the teacher say.
That's right. Number 5, using them as pawns in your marital dispute. You're separated, but you're saying things about the other parent to your child. You force them to choose. Who you like better, me or your father? Who you like better, me or your mother? And you force them to choose between you and the others. Listen, whenever you have a dispute with your children's parent, whether you're married to them or not, children need both parents. That's one of the things we need to understand. Children need both parents. Maybe that's the reason why it's called parent. Pair is two. Children need both parents. They need their mothers, they need their father. You cannot keep, this is one of the things you do. You're keeping them, and a lot of men complain about that in this nation. They are being kept from seeing their children. You know how many men complain? And they complain about our court system as well. The men especially complain about our court system in this nation, which seems to favor the mother, the female, when it comes to children. So a man will get to see his child once every 2 weeks on a weekend or for one day, while the child is placed in the custody of the mother. And a lot of men in this nation, and I've had them on my programs already, I've spoken to a lot of them, they complain. And we need to understand, and the system needs to understand, that both parents are important. There are things that a man will teach his son that a mother cannot teach. And a woman needs to understand what a man is by looking at her father, and then vice versa. Children need both parents. So both parents need to understand. You do not separate your child from the other parent. You do not force them to choose. You do not force them to take side. You do not portray the other person as some monster, because you're messing up your child, you're provoking your child, you are exasperating your child. I pause again. Question, comments? Talk to me, Joshua. Anyone?
No, Dr. Richards. No hands and comments.
Number 6, comparing them to other children. Comparing them to other, not just telling them they're stupid, comparing them. Look at the neighbor children. They don't behave like all you. All they always fighting, always, and the other neighbor children. Or you call this name of a specific child. Why you can't be more like? And you compare your children because there are behaviors in other children that you seem to like, and you wish your child behaved like that. When you do that, you frustrate your child. Because you wouldn't like to hear your child say that I wish I was like my friend's father or mother. You would blow your top. Let's use a mild expression. You wouldn't like that said of you by your children. So don't say it to them. Don't compare them. Your children are your children. And the other neighbor's children, the pastor children, the other person's children, whoever it is, that's their children. Do not do a comparison. Don't make a child, and you can make enemies too, because your children now feel jealous because you like another child and the behavior and how they acting, and you don't like me, a finite bad. I pause again. Joshua will tell me if anybody's if anybody's hand is up.
No hands, but we have one comment that says even with their own sibling. So I'm assuming they're comparing them with their own siblings as well.
Well, that's like treating differently here. Number 7, unclear standards. Unclear standards. Children need to know and understand the standards they're being held to. If they don't know, they'll be confused and discouraged. Let me give you an example. You tell them make up the bed, and when they're done, do it over. That's not the way to do it. And you're gone. They need to know how to do it. You need to show them. They need to know what the standard is. Is it that the sheet should fall the other way or whatever? But they need to know. They need to be clear. When you tell your children do something, let them know exactly what you want. They do the dishes, they wash the wares. No, you throw it back in the sink. Why? No. You know and you understand, but the child doesn't understand. So you take it and you show them, you see this? Look, there's still dirt on this, or there's still something stuck on this. And they need to know what standard. One of the things that that in the earlies, I don't wash wares so much again, because we have big children now. They do the dishes. I still wash my own. When I dirty something, I like to wash it. But I remember, and men take note of this, washing wares, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago, or doing dishes, is not just doing the washing everything and putting it and rinsing it and putting it away. You have to wipe down the sink. You have to make sure everything is wiped clean and the counter is clean. All that is part of it. That's the standard. But I didn't know that. And children don't always know that. And when you're angry and you're upset because it isn't done, you need to let them know this is what I expect. Let the standards be clear, be totally and absolutely clear. So when you can hold people accountable when they don't meet the standard, but you have to let them know what the standard is. Make sense? Because if they don't know, you cannot hold them accountable. You can't tell them they didn't do a good job if they don't know what a good job looks like. So make sure that they know what the standard is. I remember when I was in secondary school many, many years ago, I learned that when you're washing wares, you start with I think it's the glasses and the cups, and then you do the cutlery, and then you do the plates, if I remember it correctly, and then you do the pots and pans. There's a way to do it. There's a sequence to do it. If that's the way you want it, then you have to teach people that. You can expect people to know that. And I was explained why it was so too, because there are certain things that has grease and stuff, and you don't wash that first. You have to leave that for last. To start with the glasses and the cups and whatnot. That's the standard. Set a standard. And if you don't set the standard for the children, you will frustrate them. You will exasperate them. We're going to stop here tonight and move on tomorrow, God's willing. But we're looking at righteous living. And you might figure, well, what is that to do with righteous living? Righteous living means living right. It doesn't mean praying and being holy. It means living right, and all of this is part of living. That's what righteous living is. So, fathers, parents, do not provoke your children to anger. God bless you. We're going to continue tomorrow evening.
Before you close, there's a hand up. So
go right ahead.
Sir.
Hi, good night. Dr. J, talking about the wares. I'm getting nostalgic because I remember beating cake, and we just beating the cake, and without any explanation, and they come and look and say, "It ain't finished yet." Beat.
Right. That's right.
I'm still traumatized as a grown woman, so I don't beat cake at all.
But you see, and that's the thing. So then, you see, when people understand what they're doing, they do a better job. when people understand what is expected of them, and talking about children, well, we're talking about children now, but people in general. When you know and understand why you're doing something and how what you do helps the total picture, because you might be doing one small part. Then when you do that, when you understand that, it gives you a sense of satisfaction. This is what I'm doing. This is what this is my contribution. I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. So we're gonna stop here tonight, as I said. God richly bless you. Thank you so much for coming, especially the new folks. Thank you. We expect to see you tomorrow, God's willing, at the same time. We open the Zoom at 7 and we start at 8 o'clock for our kingdom study. God richly bless you. Joshua, are you closing?
Yes, but before I close, I think Minister Noel wanted to share something tonight.
Minister Noel will be sharing tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Yes.
Tomorrow night. Okay? Not tonight, tomorrow night. So Joshua, you can go ahead.
It's tonight, actually, Dr. Richards, because we don't know who's going to be on tomorrow.
We don't know who's going to be on tomorrow.
Yeah, as we have everybody on tonight and the new people and stuff, I guess that.
Well, I'm not sure she's ready. Mr. Monet, are you ready to? Are you able to share tonight?
No, Dr. Richard.
Right, because we told her Wednesday night. All right, so Wednesday, tomorrow night, Minister Monet will be sharing information concerning our event that is going to take place on the 16th of December. And she will answer all your questions, all your concerns.
Dr.
She'll be
let me
prepared to do
interrupt
that.
you here for a little bit, please. We just wanted tonight to talk to the people on the small businesses, not for her to go into the details.
Oh, the small business. Oh,
If she doesn't want to do it, then we can just let me Dr. Do you want me to talk about it or let her talk about it?
No, well, I wonder if she's prepared to talk about it, let her talk about
That's
it.
that's not much details, it's just straightforward. I think for Minister Murnell, you can talk about it. That's straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it, Mr. Moonen, and then we'll do all the other, information, put it in the chat as we talked about, as we talk this evening. So go right ahead. It's just going to take a minute or two. It's not going to be long.
Good night, everyone. To all the family members of Live Right Ministries who are small business owners, we want to give you the opportunity to sell, yes, and market your product on the 16th of December 2023 at our end of year celebration. If you're interested, please contact Minister Munel at 464-0713 by no later than the 7th of December 2023. Thank you.
All right. So if you as we said last evening, if you have a business and maybe it's kurma, maybe you sell pylori, maybe mango, and you have Dr. Richard's tamarind ball, or maybe yes, or maybe you have roti or whatever you have that you do a little business on the side. We just want you to be able to come with your products, and we want you to be able to just sell what you have. And we're asking the family that when people come to sell, that we would support. Even if it's something that you may not like, but you can buy it and give it to somebody else. It doesn't necessarily have to be food, but whatever you have that you do on the side or you do for a business and it's a small business, please, we are giving you the opportunity to sell it on the day of our family celebration on the 16th of December. And you have to reach out to Minister Munel before, because based on how many people, then we will know how much tables we will need to get and how to set it up. If we do not hear from you, then we will take it that, you're unable to sell for whatever reason it is. But don't take it upon yourself to not tell Minister Munel and then show up with it on that day, right? Everything we do must be done in decency and order. So you have an opportunity now. Reach out to Minister Noel and tell her, you have such and you would like very much to sell your product on the 16th. Yeah. And her number is in the chat there. She just put it up. Her number is 4640713. That's 4640713. Reach out and say, I would like to sell whatever it is. Pies, we don't, whatever it is, and as we said before, maybe based on what you're selling, some people may choose not to work with lunch on that day because, it might be easy for them, even if it's roti or whatever it is, but just reach out to her. All right. It's just our way of saying thank you.
And let
God
me just say
bless
this.
you.
Let me just say this as well, that it may be that you want to market your product. So it may not necessarily, it might be something that you maybe you just want to bring awareness to. This is what I do, and you bring samples or whatever it is on that day so that they consider the family can really patronize your business. So if it's that, then you can do that as well. So it's not just selling, but marketing your product as well. Just let Minister Noel know, and the family, I'm sure, will support you in whatever you do. Let's not just keep it in the family, but share with the family so that they would know that this is available from a family member. Yes? Okay. So back over to you, Joshua.
Yes, Dr. Richards. Maybe even if you make juice or sell juice, you can also reach out to Minister Noel. Again, her number is 4640713. That's 4640713. So we just want to thank each and every one of you for coming and staying with us tonight till the end. We normally don't go over time, but I hope that you'll excuse us for this one time. So I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you for staying with us, and on behalf of my family, on behalf of Dr. Richards, First Lady, myself, Jonathan, and Judah, we all love you very much. And Jesus Christ is talking to his disciples, and he said, a new commandment that I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, so ye should love one another. By this, all men shall know that you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. Remember to show your love in whatever way possible, even by telling someone good morning, giving them a smile, holding the door for somebody, or maybe even just giving money to somebody. It doesn't matter. Just show your love, make someone smile. We love you so very much. Good night to all of you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
family. Have a good night.
everyone.
Sweet sleep to all.
Good
God
night,
bless you all.
everybody. Love you
Good
all.
night,
Good night,
everyone. Good
everyone.
night,
God
everyone.
bless
Have a
everyone.
blessed
Love you
one.
all.
Good
Have a
night, everyone.
Love.
Good
Good
night.
night,
Have a blessed night.
God bless you.
good
Night,
night.
good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Blessings. I love
Love
you
you all.
all.
Night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Night, night. And unmute.
Well, have a blessed night. Love you all.
See you all tomorrow.